Now, I consider myself somewhat of a fan of hybridizing genres. Taking even the most basic gameplay loops of established genres and mashing them together can make something that's somewhat interesting, at least for a little while. Disintegration actually does this by incorporating RTS-style unit management into a somewhat fast-paced first-person shooter. Set in the distant, but not too distant future, Disintegration is about a world where humans can choose to have their grey matter integrated into a robot armature, allowing a temporary new life as an inorganic robo-being. A great way to escape the stress of day-to-day life, the economy, and obviously pandemics. It's a hot new trend, and even hotshot celebrity Roma Scholl is getting it done. I mean, book in your integration appointment today, you'd be a fool not to. Only it's not all sunshines and rainbows, as it appears a group of integrated robotic deadshits known as the Rayon have decided to full-scale force robotification on everybody, considering it should be essential and irreversible across the entire human race. That means they're now working to stomp out any pockets of resistance, and this means you. The gameplay actually puts the player into a saddle of something called a grav cycle, a futuristic hoverbike thing that is 1 part pod racer, 1 part motorcycle, and 2 parts weapon platform. And while it does not actually fly per se, you can maintain an altitude of your choosing based on the ground beneath you, navigating through the environment however you wish, again just not too high. From here you zip around the battleground, firing on enemies, and overseeing your own units and issuing orders, therefore directing the flow of battle. The grav cycle actually feels a little bit like someone wanted to weaponize or even pilot the cursor from their favourite RTS game, allowing you to interact with your units but also allowing you the opportunity to get your hands dirty. Now, as far as the RTS component is concerned, while you don't actually micromanage individual units, you do get a handful of order commands that can be issued via a particular scan mode, such as telling your forces to go here, attack this guy, or use this item. The amount of controlled units you have at any given point does differ depending on the mission and possibly depending on the faction you're playing in multiplayer, but the simplification of controls serves to make it very easy to control, but serves to be pretty frustrating when you have the luxury of a little bit more spare time to possibly get a bit more granular. For example, even if I have 4 guys under my control, I can only issue 1 order at a time, meaning that if I had 4 guys under my control and 4 things to do, I've got to do each thing individually with all 4 guys. I can't actually get all 4 of them to do it simultaneously. There's also the question of the AI of your ground forces. If left to their own devices, they're just going to do their own thing, and sometimes it's not really the most efficient or even most clever thing. It can feel a little bit like babysitting children. If you're consistently issuing orders, you'll probably be okay, but the second that you want to put all your attention on something other than your ground forces, that's when chaos is going to reign and those guys are going to do whatever they feel like. This means that the real strategic depth comes from managing each of your special dude's activated abilities within the ebb and flow of battle. These abilities range from simple grenades or concussive blasts that can stagger groups of enemies, to large slowing fields that will actually grab enemies in their projectiles and slow them to a crawl. Managing these cooldowns and using them in the right combination can mean all the difference between crashing through a spawn of enemies or hiding sheepishly behind a wall weathering the storm. Disintegration is a daring title, treading a hybrid path that has proven treacherous for many developers in the past. Once you get into the swing of it, the genre-bending mechanics of play can be quite fun. It's just hampered by an AI that needs to be babysat to a massive degree, both across its campaign and its multiplayer modes. I mean, much like your grav cycle, the game gets off the ground, but it never truly soars.